All right. It is that time again. So, welcome back to all my regular viewers, listeners, and watchers. And of course, if you happen to be watching this or listening to this pod for the very first time, welcome. And of course, before I go any further, my name is Rahul George, India's premier self hypnosis coach and your personal guide. So, what I've got on the menu for you today in the pod is something that will definitely be of value to you, especially as a digital coach, meaning you're a coach who focuses on the five streams of life, right? What are these five streams? Health, wealth, relationships, spirituality, and purpose. So if you notice, the first three are more sort of the lower order desires or requirements that people have. And the last two are where we start to transcend. So if you think about, the work that you're doing as a digital coach, and maybe your work is a combination of both the sort of rosy roti, meaning your, the skills that people need to get by, and maybe you're also leaning into the esoteric, which is you're focusing on spirituality. You're also talking about purpose, which is kind of like a much higher order reason to be, right? Maybe that's something that you're already focusing on. In that case, you will definitely find today's pod of absolute value to you. And I will, I'll sort of peel the layers of the onion as we go. And I'd love to hear from you. If you happen to be watching this on YouTube, you know the drill. Obviously, when you like and subscribe, it just feeds the algorithm, which means more people like us can hear the message, can band together as a community. Because this work that I'm doing, while of course I am creating content like this, it's also about being able to help people, as the motto goes. It's about helping you to be able to maximize your market value. What do I mean by that? That I can teach you how to use self hypnosis to maximize your market value. And the simplest way to explain that is to be able to uh, two things. One is to be able to, charge when you charge for, or when you are telling a client that, hey, I can work with you. I really want to work with you because I believe that you will be benefited by what I have to offer. What is important is that you are able to price yourself in the most appropriate way where both you and your client are benefited. So that's why maximize your market value has two parts. One is neither are you overselling yourself, nor are you underselling yourself. What you're doing is you're offering value, which, as you know, value is something that can be laddered, which means you can layer it and offer more value and offer more value for added from a cost component, right? Meaning from a payment component, that your client is willing to pay you more because of the value that you're offering them. So we will be talking about a very, very important aspect in this context, which is, very simply put, the role of stillness. Now, maybe if you're into financial coaching, meaning that you're teaching people how to either time the market, or everything is very numbers driven, this may kind of surprise you. But literally, when you are, the more still you are, the more you're able to pause, the more you'll also, I'm sure you've noticed, the times when you've been more still, your profits are better. The times when you've been swayed by the market, that's when maybe you've been part of that bloodbath where you've lost money, or where your clients have taken a hit. And this is very natural. This is, what was that quote of Warren Buffett? That, simply put, I forget the exact reference, but simply put, that when people are running away, you run in. When people are running in, you step out or you step back, right? So it's like the greed and pause. I'm obviously butchering the comment, or his. In fact, let me pull it up as well. Um, but the point here is that very, very simply put, um, stillness is something that is really, really, it's literally like the need of the hour. But let me tell you a little bit more, because my intention is to not to preach at you. I want to share with you what has been my experience as a digital coach. Now I've been doing this. I started my journey looking at how to be able to build and blend the digital element in my business from way back 2016. And of course, I've been doing this work now for close to 21 years, right? So when I kind of began this whole process, it was a fair bit of time ago. The important thing here is that um, even like right now, you can notice if you're watching this, or you can hear me uh, as I'm literally taking a moment to collect my thoughts. Now, this is not traditional in that, people say you must speak faster, your rate of speech must be more pronounced, and it must be more clipped so that you can keep people's attention. But I think you yourself, the fact that you're here listening to this, is also um, listening and watching to this. It's also testament to the fact that we all have our own unique people, our own unique audiences. And so, it's about focusing on who that you can serve well. So that's one part. But, and that was a bit of a digress, but let me tell you this. The more you're willing to practice stillness, and I'll, share an example with you. So this was a couple of years ago. I think it was around 2015 when I had in Bangalore, I had gone and attended a Vipassana meditation retreat. It's like the 10-day process. If you're familiar with, what I'm talking about. But otherwise, simply put, it's a 10-day silent meditation retreat, or I wouldn't call it a workshop, but it's a process, right? So you go in for 10 days and maintain silence, and then you come back out. And in that year, I did it twice. Again, it was just time and place. And as I reflect on it now, it was meant to happen. What's interesting is of late, I found myself like reconnecting to stillness in a much more profound way. And this is something that I'm sharing with my clients. I'm sharing this with my students, people who are in my academy. And my intention is to help you recognize that the more you practice stillness. Now, what do I mean by stillness? So meditation is something that you're probably familiar with, especially, as a digital coach. Uh, you've had different experiences with it. For some people, they love it. Some people have kind of like a love and hate relationship. For some people, it's like, meh, whatever, I mean, I'm just going to focus on my subject matter. I'll be really good at it. And that should take care of itself, right? It works most of the time. But you'll notice that there will come a time when you will hit your own limitations, right? Meaning you'll bump against your own limitations. Now that may be in the number of people who are showing up in your webinars, or the kind of money that you're charging your clients. That suddenly now you're like, okay, I want to charge more, but somehow you're not able to, um, charge that with integrity. Meaning that somewhere when you're asking, and there are some times when clients will say yes, there are a lot of times that clients are saying no, but somewhere inside you don't feel that you're in integrity, meaning you feel you're out of integrity. These are those moments where, when you start to focus on habits such as stillness, one thing I can promise you is that you will see a difference in your approach to you. Forget life, forget people, forget all of that for a minute or for a moment, right? You will actually start to notice that you are more in sync with yourself. And by that, I mean you're more in sync with your inner joy, inner peace, inner belief. It's like your self belief. These are all things which are all on the inside, which people can't see. They can only hear and feel based on how you are interacting with people, right? So it's like they say, when you've learned to let's say to do a webinar, and when you get to that point where you've taught for a bit and then you're about to sell, notice that, and I've been there too many times, notice that if you are not in sync with your um, like if you're not able to hold that stillness, and which means you're all fidgety, or you're um, just saying stuff that's coming to you, and you don't even mean it, right? um, these are all signs that you know you're like a perfect candidate. This is like the best time in your life for you to start practicing stillness. And by that I mean that when you actually start practicing stillness, in the most basic sense, you will actually start to slow down, so that you can actually, it's like slow down to speed up, right? So you can slow down to actually be aware of what's happening, right? Are you able to, it's like, that expression of read the room. Are you able to even notice the people? Are you able to notice the signals that they are uh, giving you, or that they are emanating, right? So this is something to truly uh, experience, right? I know I have, which is why I know I have the um, that alignment internally and externally. That's why I'm sharing this with you with a lightness, um, because like if I had, if we had had this conversation, or let me put it this way, 6 weeks or 8 weeks ago, compared to at this point when I'm recording this pod, we wouldn't have even had this topic wouldn't have even come up, right? Because I myself was going through my own process of going within. But now that I have intuitively kind of reconnected with these habits, movement, working out. In my case, I love swimming, so it's swimming for me. Walks, right? But more importantly, the stillness. And for me, the way, if you ask me, like, okay, on a practical note, what is it that I'm doing? The moment I wake up, whether it's sometimes it's 3, 4 in the morning, sometimes it's later, 6, 7, 8 maybe. Um, but regardless, I make it a point to just pause and just, especially if it's whatever time. The first thing I do is I sit up and I just sit in my bed without moving, right? I do that for a little while, and it's a way for me to just be present, center myself, and then of course I go to my meditation couch and I just sit there and sit in stillness. So let's quickly talk about the what is this sit in stillness that I've been talking about in different ways for the last couple of minutes. In the most basic sense, is like you find a place, ideally sit. If you lie down, there's a tendency to fall asleep, especially in the initial phases. So sit, and then all you're doing is just being absolutely still, or that English expression of stock still, meaning you're not moving at all. The only thing that you're doing is that you're breathing, which means there'll be inhale, there'll be exhale, there'll be your stomach moving in and out. That's about it, right? Got your eyes closed. So you're not moving your neck, you're not moving your hands, you're not moving your feet, nothing. You're absolutely still. And initially, maybe you can start with a minute or two, but the intention is that over a period of time, when you can start to sit for longer and longer, there's a lot of, I can share this only from my own experience. There's a lot of my ego that I can see breaking down. There's a lot of course, there will be days when ideas are flying fast and furiously, which is okay, but it's not with the intention of, oh, let me generate ideas, so let me sit in stillness, right? It's more about just being present, because I have noticed this, that the more I'm being present like this for those, couple of minutes or longer, the more I'm able to find myself being a lot more in sync with myself through the rest of the day, whether that is in my client calls, whether that's in my, the quote unquote sales calls, um, mentoring, coaching, guiding, any of that. And plus, even in my relationships. So, uh, I'm able to recover a lot faster. So even if for a minute I kind of lose my cool, we all have those moments, right? And it's perfectly normal and natural, just saying. But the recovery is what I've noticed now is happening a lot faster. And there's a lot more joy in it, which sounds crazy even as I'm saying it, right? So these are just, a few practical notes that I'm sharing with you. Of course, as time progresses, I will, return to one of these. In the previous pod, I was talking about flow and how, you know, when you're in flow, you're able to do a lot more. And there's this whole process to it, which you can obviously hear about in that pod. But these are all interconnected. So when I'm able to practice stillness, I'm able to be more present. I am able to be, you know, I'm able to hold that space for my clients, right? Incidentally, if you look in the list of pods, you'll find the pod even on holding space. Right? So these are all experiences that I am having, that I am noticing when I'm with my clients, when I'm talking to my to the members in my academy. And of course, if you're wondering, what is this academy that I'm talking about? Like now we've kind of like reached that point where the academy has kind of like revealed itself. So this is like a soft reveal. So if you're hearing it here for the very first time, the academy will be called the I Hypnosis Coaching Academy. So this is something that I'm right now in the process of. So there will be like like a brand reveal, if you want to call it that. But in essence, you can probably see it if you're watching this on YouTube or on Facebook. You can see that it's the name itself is like Rahul George hyphen I Hypnosis Coaching Academy. So we're kind of moving more and more into this space where my intention is to be able to teach you, help you to truly, truly, truly be able to maximize your market value. And that's the reason why I'm looking at things that are actually working. They're working for me. They're working for the coaches that I work with. The, you could definitely say that today about 70 to 90% of the work that we do is digital, right? So we get on a Zoom call like this and we do our sessions. We do it one to one, we do it one to many. And yes, over a period of time, since we're now at this point, right, at the time of recording, we're in 2023. So definitely there are better opportunities. There are more opportunities to also do this offline. But the important thing is, as a digital coach, the more you are willing to practice these self healing, self knowing self, it's like know thyself, right? I forget who said that, but um, if you're um, if you're really willing to do these processes, you will over a period of time start to notice that you're shifting, that you're changing. And the more that you're changing, you'll notice that even the world around you, the kind of clients that are reaching out to you, the kind of opportunities that are coming to you, all of these are starting to open up, right? And I'm not just saying this because I heard it somewhere on a YouTube video or something. I'm actually starting to notice that happen more and more in my life, right? And like I said, in my case, I've been on this journey now for more than 2 decades, if I look at it in total. From being an employee to saying, okay, like advertising was the mainstay of what I was doing, and then I started to move into training and then eventually into coaching. And today I'm here doing this, right? Running the iHypnosis Coaching Academy. So, the important thing is that if you truly want to be able to experience that shift, then one, of course, if you already know how to do that, kudos, and wish you all the best on that journey. But if you're here, there's something about this that you're connecting with, that you're resonating with. I can tell you this. I have been able to finally create a very, very simple path. The path is this. Right? On Saturday, I do a workshop. It's called, as the name suggests, Mera Number Kab Aayega. So if you are a digital coach and you've already invested in tools, in technology, and mentors to be able to make this process work for you, to be able to learn how the digital, how does digital marketing work? How does selling online work, right? How do you learn all of these things? How do you do all of these things? And you've done all of that. Yeah, you've done it in a group. You've done it maybe one to one. But in spite of all of that, somehow it's not clicking for you. So you're like, I'm not getting this. Like I'm doing everything that I should be doing, that I'm supposed to be doing, that I've been told to do, but somehow something's missing, right? And if you'll notice, if you real and you're probably on that journey right now, which is you're like, okay, I know, I know what doesn't work, and I've not yet found what does work. I can tell you this. One huge missing piece is this. When you if you are willing to actually truly work on yourself and more importantly work on your beliefs, which means when you start to work on your and create positive beliefs, right? Positive, powerful beliefs, rather than trying to reduce or limit your I should be doing this, or I should be working out, or I should be making more videos, or whatever it is, rather than focusing on that, which is the negative. So you're like, the more you focus on the negative beliefs, that's what you're giving power to. Instead, if you choose to actually focus on creating powerful beliefs, and that is the mainstay of and the reason why I do this work, because my intention is for you to be able to create powerful, positive beliefs. And I'm not just saying this, you literally will notice that the way you are in those 5 streams that I talked about at the beginning of today's pod, right? Just to remind you, what are those 5 streams? Health, wealth, relationships, spirituality, and purpose. So when you start to focus on these areas in your own life, and you start to, work on improving your health, and health is health, wellness, and fitness. When you start to work on that, and when you start to, you know, have a deeper connection, a deeper relationship, a more positive relationship in your, your wealth building, your approach to finances, your approach to money, right, in your own life, you'll start to notice that a better, when I say better, I mean a more aligned quality of clients will show up, right? Clients who are looking to you not as a lottery ticket, right? They're not betting their either their last dollar, or they have lots of money and they're just like, yeah, whatever, I'll pay you money and that should take care of it. No, you'll start to notice that the right kind of clients reach out to you. By right, I mean you and they are aligned, and you are there as a sort of like a lightning rod to be able to help those clients massively shift their lives. Right? That's what we do as digital coaches, right? So when you actually start to make these shifts in your life, you'll start to notice that you yourself are changing. So, as I said before, like today's topic was all about, today's pod was all about really wanting to focus and asking you, hey, are you practicing stillness? If not, this is why. And do write in the comments if you made it to this point. Firstly, um, uh, all the way in, right? So that's kind of long. Um, I was going to say all in because that's one of the podcasts that I watch. Um, let's call it to the end, right? To the end, TTE, right? To the end. So if you made it to the end, go ahead and type to the end or hashtag to the end. Actually, just write to the end. I don't know what the hashtag is. So do that. And like I said, the intention, and as I promised to you, that if you actually are willing to do the work, then the right kind of people will show up, right? This pod being here right now in your life, you listening to this, and whether you come along with me to explore what is self-hypnosis, and how can you learn it, and how can you use it in your life as a digital coach, that's one way. Or even if this becomes a stepping stone for you to actually find what you're meant to um, work on, or how you're meant to work on, furthering and bettering uh, areas of your life, so be it, right? For me, what's important is that this is one of those um, moments in your timeline that you will remember, and that will make a difference in your life. That's how I look. That's my deal, right? So as I said, path is very simple. On Saturday, I do a workshop. It's called Mera Number Kab Aayega. And once you attend that, which is a 60-minute session, at the end of it, you have an opportunity. And of course, here I'm doing it a little differently. You pay, 1,000 rupees plus all the various fees and GST, whatever. So it's under 1,300 rupees. But I can promise you this: attend that 60-minute workshop. And if you feel it has been worth your time, then automatically, and I'm telling you this now, if you listen to this, you are anyway one of my kind. So you anyway get to hear the secrets. Other people will not really hear this. They may not have reached this point. So even if they come and attend, the link clearly has the price point. So either they buy or they don't. But the secret between you and me is this: that after you have paid that 1,300, which includes all the the tariffs or whatever it is, that You also get access to 30 days. In those 30 days, you get access to a WhatsApp group. You also get access to 4 live sessions. So basically 11 to 12 is the workshop, and 12 to 1 is like a introduction to self hypnosis, like a self hypnosis 101, right? And the intention here is that you do this at the end of 30 days. There is a very high probability that you will be saying life chingalala, right? If that has happened organically and naturally, that means you have an opportunity. You can continue on this journey, and you can really go deep in learning more about self hypnosis, and not just learning about it, but actually apply it in your own life and those 5 streams that I was talking about, right? All right. So let me pause at this point. I will obviously be back. I do this live, and I've been shooting these lives now, which now have turned into pods. Um, so if you go to my Facebook page, it's called Self Hypnosis Mastermind. It's a Facebook group. It is free. So come, if you like this content, there's a lot more that you can go through. Obviously, I would recommend go through in reverse, because this is where now all the elements have come together. If you watch it from, having said that, if you watch it from around November to November or December of 2022, you will kind of be able to see the evolution of how we got to where we are now. Okay. I've also done some of these deep dives, so I understand. If you do that, I will not be surprised. What else? Did I miss anything? Yeah. So that's it. Like I said, I've been doing this now for close to 8 or 9 months. Pretty much every single day I've done a live. Obviously, some of the themes have been similar, some of the things have been different. Um, but if you're interested in seeing what happens if somebody was to do a live every day, that is an opportunity for you to learn, unpack, and definitely use in your own journey in creating content, right? So with this, I'm going to pause here for today. I will, of course, be back for another live. And yeah, hats off, kudos to you, Seth Godin, wherever you are, and putting it out there again into the universe that I would definitely love to have you on my pod. And one, of course, thank you on the pod and ask you questions, based on what you're doing at that point in your life. Because he's one person who has been like a massive, massive influence in my life. When I heard that he's written a blog for more than 20 years, literally every single day he's written a blog, right? He's written a blog post. So, and of course, a lot of them have turned into books, and he's been creating these, writing, like, I forget now how many books. It's more than a handful. So, as I said, with that note of gratitude, I will wrap today's pod. I want to thank you once again. Remember, TTE is, if you're still here watching this, listening to this on whatever platform you use to have received this pod. And do write in the comments if you have any questions, if you'd like to know more, if you'd like to reach out to me directly. You don't have to wait till Saturday. You can definitely ask me or talk to me, message me. And if I can help you in any way, I'd love to do that. Right. So with that, I'm going to wrap. And as always, remember to live with purpose. With that, I'm going to see you in the next one. Have a wonderful day, week, month, and year ahead. God bless, and see you in the next one. Bye-bye.